We lost $6,262 on Kickstarter, trying to raise $10,000. So I wouldn't have made season 2, and we wouldn't be talking right now if I gave up. So I raised the money through little shitty PayPal buttons on our crappy website, and it took 6 months. And that's the other thing about Spike. I think when we think about fundraising, how many people are in your network? How many people do you know? How many people know you exist? How many people are going to find out about you while you're fundraising? Now, how much money is going to come out of that number of individuals? Because that was, I think, was my mistake, was that I thought that trajectory, that Spike mentality, was going to go from the show to the Kickstarter campaign to that 52 days, and we're going to make it, and $10,000, and then have to fundraise through holidays, and it's great. We chased an actor for 5-6 months, big time actor, and it got to the point where it was like, thank you, sir. I've got a schedule. So we got another actor, and it worked out even better. With season 2, we were in discussions with a company, actually a few companies, one company in particular that I thought we were going to work with. It seemed like a really good fit. It seemed like, when somebody says, I don't want to produce your show, that's a good thing. That's a good. And so things didn't work out, and it took 11 months for it to not work out. And there were other meetings, and there's still other things going on, but in the meantime, I wrote a really big show. I wrote like 150, 160 pages. We were going for 15 to 20-minute episodes to do 6 or 7 of them. Cast Cheryl Lee from Twin Peaks, and Kimmy Robertson from Twin Peaks, and a lot of Gary Anthony Williams, a lot of great actors, and then the company changed their mind. They decided they didn't want to work with us in the direction we were going, for whatever reason. And then the other things fell apart, all within a few days. Always funny how 11 months, 3 days, done, out. So after I mourned, what you gotta do, you gotta spend a little time going, God damn it, fuck. And then, what am I going to do next? And so I looked at what the weaknesses were in Vampire Mob, and I needed to have everything work for a short amount of time, and it was a bunch of shit. And I didn't want to make a project that was so top-heavy, was a giant skyscraper and a little foundation. I wanted something that I could scale. If I one part of it fall apart, another part can slip in. So that's when I looked at this idea of play shorts, of doing an anthology series where it's not one story, it's a bunch of different stories that are sort of under one heading. It's my style, what I do, it's comedy drama, and it's, I think it's going to be more fun. And while I'm doing that, I can keep taking meetings, I can keep building the audience for Vampire Mob, and when that audience is big enough, that I think we can raise enough money to shoot 150 pages, then I'll try to do that. But I realize we're not that big. We're not big enough to make the money to get people to shoot all that story for free. That's ridiculous. That's crazy. It doesn't work. It's not real. And so I didn't take my own advice. I wrote myself into a corner because I wanted to do something better, but it's not I made 2 seasons, we've shot about 130 pages, so I have story out, I want to make a bigger story. I don't want to make a smaller story because I can't afford it. I already have this kind of trajectory, it seems like that's the evolution of the show in my mind, so it's not working out right now, so I am using the Marine saying, improvise, adapt, and overcome, and I am doing another show, another story. I think it's an ebb and flow. I think I always expect obstacles, so when they come, I'm not as surprised. Also, when things work out really quickly, casting Cheryl Lee and Kimmy Robertson and Gary Anthony Williams, it was like nothing. It was like, and I started doing that when this company was starting to drag their feet, and it didn't seem like they were going to go at all. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to put a show together. So I started making calls. I'm like, hey, you want to do the show? Sending scripts, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh wow, we could actually do this. Like, it seemed like if everything had worked the way I thought it was going to work, the way everyone said it was going to work, then maybe it would have. Maybe that would have been a giant mistake. But the thing about it is that I learned a lot of stuff during the time that I was waiting for these to work out. I was reading, I was watching, I was reading interviews and blogs and shooting some stuff and getting hired by companies to tell stories. So there were other things. So now I'm coming back and I'm like so fucking ready to go. Like I'm just want to get to work, tell some fucking stories and stop waiting, stop. So next week I start raising money and see what happens.